Carl, I'll get to your PM in a minute. Good morning, folks. Just made Facebook public. The time delay in actually broadcasting will be over by now. So, good morning to you all. It's Two Davies out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it's overcast, chilly, 10 degrees. That's the weather forecast for Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. You want to know what the weather's like with you? Look out your own bloody window and maybe drop a wee comment in the comments so I can see how the weather is where you are. Anyway, welcome aboard everybody to the second daily newspaper review, where we have a look at the headlines in the papers across these islands. Now, once again today, I can tell you that the UK-wide press, the Times, the Telegraph, the Eye, the Metro, that sort of thing, they're all the same in Scotland and England today. There is exceptions here in Scotland where we have Scotland-specific papers, where we have the Scotsman, the Herald, and the Daily Record, and then we have the local rags, which I'm not going to delve into very often. We've got the Press and Journal and things like that, the Courier, the Airdrie, Gazette, that sort of thing. I'm not going to delve into them very often. I do look at them. I do look at them in the morning to see if there's any interest to the rest of us. But no, really, and it's pushing it down in Glenrothes, is it, Jim? Sorry to hear that. It's dry here at the moment, but it's bloody chilly. You can tell the seasons are turning. Oh, and while I see Mad Monk 33 there, Hugh, next week, the after show chat's not gone that well, because I keep forgetting about it. Next week, Hugh, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, after show chat, right after the show, the Two Davies news review, because it will work better like that. We'll keep it 10 o'clock on the Monday and the Thursday for the night owls, if I can make it. But, folks, there'll be an after show chat on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Friday right after the news review, okay? Right, let's get into it, and we're going to start off with a couple of Scotland-specific papers who are running with the same headline, basically. And I'll put the headline up for you. I'll put the paper up for you. So you can see the front page on this one. I'll put the Herald up, but the Herald and the Scotsman are running on the very same headline. So they are. And that is the story of Joe Farrell, Scotland's Chief of Police, laying out a 3-year business plan and describing how Police Scotland will operate going into the future. Now, her programme's called Police Scotland 2030. Considering it's only a 3-year plan, it takes us to 2027. I don't quite get where the 2030 bit comes from, but never mind. Anyway, what is it Joe's talking about? Well, they're talking about facial recognition technology in CCTV and body-worn cameras, and an AI system where they can run faces through to pick up what she's calling violent criminals. She's also guaranteeing that every community will have a community police officer who everybody will know. But she tells us she's going to do this without increasing police numbers. She also tells us they're having to look at the police estate. It could well be that the police don't need all the properties they've got, and the upkeep of these properties is actually draining the police coffers. So they're looking at the police estates because they can do more things with bigger hubs, or they can do things more remotely from home and things like that these days. She's also talking about how 83% of her officers who've been polled would like to carry tasers. So going forward, budget permitting, there'll be a rollout of tasers in Police Scotland. So it would appear that police are tooling up, which is a concern. But now the facial recognition thing and the AI systems that they're talking about. Now, as you know, folks, I'm no keen on AI. I'm not keen on AI because, as you are aware, I don't think mankind has evolved enough to be able to call itself intelligent. So how could we create an artificial intelligence system when our answer to problems is still to get a big stick and beat the fuck out of each other? Examples going on in Africa, in Myanmar, in Israel and Gaza, Russia, Ukraine. That is not an intelligent species. A species whose answer to a problem is to pick up a big fucking stick and beat each other with it, all in the name of land, resources and whatever else, rather than working together for the common good of humanity. So this AI push, I'm no keen on that. And apparently it's only going to target violent criminals. How do you know who's a violent criminal walking down the street? I guess it'll have the violent criminals database based on it. Anyway, so there we go. That's what the headline here in the Herald and in the Scotsman, which are two Scotland-specific papers, are about this morning. They are about Joe Farrell giving a speech yesterday about the future of policing in Scotland. As I say, AI, facial recognition technology, tasers and body cameras, community policing, and probably selling after the police estate. Okay, so that's where we're at. Now, super chat. Thanks very much, Duncan. Good morning, David. Watched yesterday and would like to welcome you back. A brilliant newspaper rant. Well, anyway, as I say, that's the Scotsman and the Herald out the road. Right, now the National, I'll take this down. I'm not putting all the front pages up, folks, just the odd one. In this case, it was the Herald to cover the Post Scotland story. And I'll be putting the Star up because it makes me chuckle. Alright, apart from that, let's move on. Now the National runs with Scots feeling shortchanged and betrayed by Labour, says Stephen Flynn. And I see somebody put in the comments there that Stuart McDonald, the SNP, wants to get into a coalition with Labour. First I've heard there. Stranger things have happened. But I can't see the Labour Party getting into bed with the SNP. Not going to happen. Right, anyway, what Stephen's saying is that the people here in Scotland are angry, upset, and are suffering from buyer's remorse. Well, as I spoke about yesterday with David Milligan, when we talked about the 38 new Labour MPs here in Scotland going to a petition Keir Starmer to nationalise Grangemouth, they're about to, if they don't already know, they're about to find out they're fucking irrelevant to Starmer. He doesn't need them. Never needed them. He's no interested in Scotland. He's only interested in Scotland and Scotland's resources and crippling Scotland's economy to the point where they can take the resources while telling us we're too wee, too poor and too fucking stupid to stand we're in 2 feet. That's the agenda going forward, folks. That and stripping out the Scottish Parliament over the next 10 years so that they can have a fucking referendum on abolishing it. Alright, so there's a future predicted for you guys. But as for buyer's remorse here in Scotland, told you about a wee woman in the shop complaining about her winter fuel allowance, and the postmaster saying to her, you got what you fucking voted for, didn't you? Because he was pissed off hearing about it. You want to see the shock in the wee woman's face when he said to her, you did vote Labour, didn't you? And realisation dawned on her. Yeah, well, so there you go, buyer's remorse here in Scotland. I've seen a lot of it in England as well. Let's face it, I've just been watching the Labour conference and there's been all sorts of protests there. 12 weeks in. There was, as I said, I gave you a list of them yesterday afternoon. There was the post office protesters, we had the post office scandal. We had the waspy women there. We had people protesting further austerity. And we had people protesting the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And that was happening inside the conference and outside the conference. Yesterday, I watched the footage of a young man being assaulted for heckling from the floor of the Labour conference. They had him round the neck and dragging him for the auditorium. And we talk about artificial intelligence. We can't even have conferences without beating the shit out of each other. Wow. But to actually watch on the media a young fella getting assaulted at the Labour Party conference and the assaulters being applauded tells you where we are as a fucking species. But buyer's remorse? Fuck, we've only just got started. Maybe we get a wee bit further in. Lovely. Right. The eye runs with Reeves looks at cutting benefits to fund public spending. That's funny. In her keynote speech yesterday, she said fucking austerity was over. While freezing Granny in her hovel this winter. Starving children. Oh, and apparently their breakfast club's only going to be a pilot scheme. There are 720 schools at £7 million. Guess what, England? We've been feeding Wayne's their breakfast for fucking years up here. The idea of the breakfast club actually comes from here. All our local authorities for years have run breakfast clubs. So, viewers in England, you're being short fucking changed. Our councils have been funding breakfast clubs for our primary school children for years. Years. Well, it just takes the kids up there at 8:30 to get their breakfast, their toast, their cereal, and then they start their day. Okay. You don't understand older people voting Tory or Labour. They must have seen them both fail over the years. Rosie will get to that, I can assure you. Because I was watching young Reagan Elite last night. Lovely young fella. Does a great programme. But he's trying to stay optimistic in the face of reality when we come to this carry on about name earth, austerity and all that shit. As you say, Rosie, it surprises me the amount of older people who still vote Labour and Tory. Unfortunately, I make it into that category myself now. And I have to say, doing through the last 30 years, 40 years, I have seen no fucking change. I have seen one disastrous administration after another. And each one of them has stripped away the safety net that was put in place with the creation of the welfare state. And that even includes Tony Blair's administration. Because as I've tried to explain to people before, very few people understood the con that Tony Blair pulled off with a minimum wage. Very few people. I'll do a full programme on it at some point. But what he did was he took the responsibility from employers to pay a living wage from them and had the government set your wage. Which meant that we ended up with poverty pay set by the government. Meanwhile, profits, which could have been paid out and should have been paid out to workers to give them a decent wage, they went straight into the boss's pockets, while the responsibility for making up the poorest people's salaries to a living wage was transferred to the middle classes. Fucking what a wheeze that was. Wow. Nah. And people lauded it too. People lauded it. At the time I was saying this is a fucking con. It turned out to be true, because if we'd carried on the old system, inflation would have had the minimum wage right now at 15 to 17 quid. Talk about being fucking conned. Yeah? Brilliant. Right, where we go. The Telegraph runs with lights at the end of the tunnel, says PM. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Jam tomorrow, children. Jam tomorrow. We'll cut till we balance the books, and then we'll open the wallet and jam will flow. The rivers will be clean. There will be milk and honey. I've been hearing this pitch for 40 years. 40 years. I've watched other public utilities sold off for jam in the morning. I've watched other public services cut back on and cut to the bone, to the point where people are dying because they can't get services for jam tomorrow. It's always jam tomorrow. Well, Starmer's just hit you with a big plate of jam tomorrow. As for his claim of no austerity, the newspaper reports today they're going to whack benefit claimants in order to spend. That sounds like fucking austerity to me. Hit the poorest, first grandma, then the least of us, the poorest of us. Fucking mental. More jam tomorrow, please. Mr. Starmer's peddling jam tomorrow. And all yous are trying to remain optimistic. I'm dead happy for you young folk. That optimism. Because, take my word for it, 40 years of observing this shit, nothing has changed. Things have got worse. Milton, honey, you want coffee, Melanie? Pop by, I've got a kettle. Right, here we go. The Times runs on. The austerity we're talking about here, remember? Reeves says yesterday, the austerity. The Times runs on. The Times runs on. Crackdown on benefit fraud. Benefit fraud, so they're going to crack down on benefit fraud to sort out the cost of living crisis. Benefit fraud's about 1% of the benefit bill. Less. Benefit fraud in 2023 to 2024, I looked it up, cost the UK £1 billion. Chump change. Yep. Shouldn't have lost it to fraud. Should have staffed the fucking Department of Work and Apprentices properly. Wouldn't have lost it to fraud. But it's chump change, folks. Benefit fraud in the year 24-25 is expected to increase to 1.1 billion, but the number of unemployed is about to rise. And most of this benefit fraud we talk about is actually not really fraud. It's these fucking idiots find out too much and then having to claim it back. Happy. I had it happen to me when I snapped my tendon and I went on the sick. And we were told that because I was out of work and Sarah was the only one, she was entitled to tax credits. They paid us out X amount of money, and then sent us a letter saying, "Look, we made a mistake, you better give us that 1,200 quid back." Right, let's move on. The Woody rag, right-wing rag, the Express goes on. Fury as Labour silences winter fuel debate. Trade unions furious, and so they are. The RMT and Unite leaders are going mental. Now, as you know, the unions forced a vote at the conference on cutting of the winter fuel allowance to 10 million pensioners. What did Labour do? They did it the graveyard shift on the closing day of the conference, meaning there'd been no fucking delegates there to vote on it. They've tried to manipulate the trade unions on the vote. So Unite and the RMT have made a complaint to the organisers, and the organisers have said, "We'll get back to you on whether we're going to switch this vote to a different time slot." But what they actually did is saying, this is where the anger comes in, is because the trade unions have voted, forced a vote at conference on this fuel cut, they stuck it at a point in time in the conference when there's likely to be nobody about. What they call the graveyard slot. Lovely, eh? So much for Labour. Working with the trade unions and the workers and being the party of the people. Try to shut the fucking trade unions up. They're just as bad as the Tories. Right, the Daily, where we go? The other right-wing Winnie Rag, the Scottish Daily Fail, goes on, union bosses will seize control of the economy. Apparently, the head of the RMT has said that the trade unions will be bossing Labour about when it comes to the economy. They'll be seizing control of the economy. Doubt it. Trade unions have got very little power today. Very little. Few of them, it could cripple the government. Unison, United, GMB, because they're all basically representing public sector workers, but highly unlikely to happen. I mean, Sharon Graham of Unite, Labour's biggest backer, trade union-wise, she's letting them away with fucking murder. Absolute murder. threatened their funding over and over again, never done nothing. Not a thing. And you're right there, Derek. 6 weeks when you go to sign on now before you get a payment. You'd be dead in that thing if you didn't have anything behind you or a family to look after you and feed you. Mental. Right. The record. Labour's mouthpiece and unionist rag in Scotland runs on. Murderer kept in admission cell. Killer trans man in women's only jail. He wasn't in a women's only jail. And when this person had killed the person had killed an old woman, they were 16 and sexually confused. So the prison service didn't know what to do with them. Did they go to being trans? Did they go to a male prison, a female prison? This was 14 years ago, folks. This person's been in jail for 14 years. I think they've just been released. But hey, they just decided to keep them in isolation for 14 fucking years. A 16-year-old in isolation in an admission cell for 14 years. That sounds like breaches of human rights, to be honest with you. But trans man in woman's jail, in any fucking jail, being held in an admission cell somewhere, probably in a prison facility. If it was a woman's prison facility, well, let's face it, 14 years ago, trans wasn't even a subject. But the prison service have been dealing with these people for a very long time. So I'm sure the person's human rights were looked after and they were kept in safe isolation. Basically, they were kept out of the general population in the prisons. Probably for their own safety. But a 16-year-old? Yeah, well, here we go. But that's another Scotland-specific paper, folks, for anybody out with Scotland. Naughty step, Elizabeth. Naughty step. Can't be late. That's not on. Right, let's move on. The Metro goes on. Police sees 83% more. And apparently it's e-bike crime. Apparently people are going mental stealing electronic bikes. I believe they are quite expensive right now. But anyway, the police have got quite a success rate in getting them back, apparently. So there you go. The Murdoch rag, the Sun goes with Nick's Strictly SOS. Now, I had no idea who this was or what this was. Anyway, it's somebody called Nick Knowles. And when I looked into it, this guy does DIY programs. So I watched one this morning on YouTube. Anyway, apparently this guy's hurt his arm while changing a tyre on his car and is now on a waiting list for a scan. We're trying to fucking come. Waiting lists are humongous right across these islands after the pandemic. So anyway, apparently it's a Strictly SOS. Yeah. You see, I'd never heard of Nick Knowles. He seemed like a nice fella. He seemed like a nice enough fella. They say the papers are full of bollocks. What's interesting about the Rachel Reeves' speech yesterday, what the papers are saying today, of course, that doesn't mean that the two are synonymous with each other. They're no. Hold on. Camera again. That's better. Now we're square to the screen. I was tilted away to the side there. They're no exclusively synonymous with each other. But Rachel Reeves giving a speech yesterday talking about next step, no more austerity than the first thing she did with whack pensioners. It's been common knowledge for a while she's going to go after benefits to cut them. And she's already stated what taxes she won't raise. So, you know, it looks like the majority are going to carry the burden again this time rather than those with the broadest shoulders. But that's always been the way it is. Right. Now, we're almost finished, folks. We're almost on the 30-minute mark. So I am going to put up today's star. Because I want to end on a lighter note. For me, but no, on a lighter note, if it's your fucking motor. Yeah. You know what they say about England tipping into the sea? You know, well, we're going to sit here in our mountains and laugh at them. You know, Frankie Boyle-esque. Well, let's stick this one up, shall we? Screen share. Where are we? That one. Aye, this one. This one gives me a giggle. Whoever's motor this is in whatever area it is in the south of England where this is happening, you have my sympathies, but it still made me smile, so here we go. And there you have it, folks. Flash flood hell. It's Booty McBootface. And the lid of the boot's up out the water, and it does look like a wee smiley face. Hairline, 2 eyes, a nose, and the number plate looks like a mouth. Now, obviously, if you're living in one of these areas where there's been flash flooding in England, you have my sympathy. Your properties, your property has been bloody well ruined. Your cars have been sunk. 14-year-old can now apply for the 2026 vote. Well, thank you very much, Stevie. I didn't know that. That's good public information. Anyway, so that's the start for you today, folks. Always got a smile at the start. I've always got the wackiest headlines. But I liked that one today, the wee picture of the boot out the flood, out the flash flood. Feel sorry for the person whose car it is, of course. Feel sorry for anybody living in an area where flash flood happens. Because obviously there's a lot of damage. People get washed away as well. People get hurt. But more importantly, you have to look at the people who built these houses on fucking floodplains in the first place. And ask, why the fuck did you do that? You knew it was a floodplain. Why are you building fucking houses there? Anyway, that's the crap in the papers today, folks. Now listen, the Two Davies, we're trying to get to 2,500 and then on to 3,000 subscribers. Now, unusually, unlike most YouTubers, they will tell you that most of their viewers are no subscribers. Well, actually, according to the analytics, almost 100% of your viewers are subscribers. But if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Help us get that extra 40 or 50 subscriptions to get to 2,500. As we grow the audience, as you know, we make more revenue, and that revenue goes to feeding our communities via the Food Bank Fund, which will be going out for the last couple of days of this month. I haven't checked yet, but the money should be in from YouTube now, and I'll get it out the door. But as I say, please, if you haven't already subscribed, jump onto YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the subscribe button. It's important because of the advertising revenues we make. As I say, it all goes back into the communities. David and I don't make a dime, as you know. And your contributions to help your fellow citizens makes David and I very, very proud of this channel. And very proud to call you all friends. So that's it. Thanks very much, moderators. And as I say, starting next Tuesday, right after the show, between 11 and 1 o'clock, there will be an after-show chat. So Hugh, I know you're moderating the day. Keep that in mind and give me a phone, brother. Okay. Right, folks, that's it for the day. Look after yourselves. And I'll see you tomorrow to see what crap's in the papers. Then. Bye for now.